Now, when I was in school, my teacher would draw this line on the board. It went up, it came back down, it had climax written at the top, and it said, that's your plot. Now go ahead and write it. And I was sitting there going, huh?
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boy.
I'm gonna give you 2 basic structures to follow, and you can choose whichever one makes most sense to you. Remember to move Captain's shield over the one that does make more sense to you. The 2 we're gonna look at are the Marvel structure, which is oversimplified for this case, and the Pixar structure. The Marvel structure does follow that triangular line that I was just talking about, but I'm gonna be a little more clear about how it works. All you have to do is introduce your character, tell what goal they're trying to achieve right away, and then put obstacles in the way of achieving that goal. A good place to start is just choose 3 obstacles. And each time they encounter an obstacle, the obstacle should get progressively more difficult for them to overcome. So if we look at this actually happening in a Marvel movie, in the latest Avengers, the final battle scene with Thanos is that biggest obstacle. That's the big thing that they had to overcome. Previous to that, smaller obstacles were time traveling and make sure that everything goes according to plan. That final thing, that most challenging obstacle that your character overcomes, is the very top of that point that we call the climax. Now, after the climax, this is the most important part. How is your character transformed? By actually meeting the goal that they set out to achieve. Hopefully, it brings them a better life in some way. This transformation could be anything. It just needs to lead to a better life for the protagonist. Peace to Wakanda, saving the world, coming to terms with the loss of the love of her life, and being able to move on with her life. Here's the Pixar structure to telling stories, and they repeat it every single time. Now, I should note here that Pixar has made tons of money, has made critically acclaimed films over and over and over and over, and the only 2 times that they did not make critically acclaimed films were The Good Dinosaur, which just wasn't that good, and Onward, which came out right at the beginning of COVID, so it didn't recoup the money that was made to create it. But all of their other movies have been smash hits, so let's say 23 out of 25, I don't know the actual number, but that's not bad. Here's the Pixar structure. Once upon a time there was every day except one day, and because of that, until finally, yep, that's actually the structure. Let me give you an example using Finding Nemo. Once upon a time, there was a fish named Marlin. Every day, Marlin warned his son Nemo not to swim too far away. One day, Nemo swam into the open water. Because of that, Nemo was caught and put in the dentist's aquarium. Because of that, Marlin went searching for his son, meeting other sea creatures along the way, until finally the 2 reunited. It's worth mentioning that the transformation applies to both structures. Marlin getting his son back transformed his life, because think about how his life would have gone if he was never able to get back to Nemo. If Lightning McQueen was never able to embrace friendship. If the Incredibles had to go on never making use of their superpowers. If Woody didn't learn to share. So pick one of the structures, whichever structure makes the most sense to you, and use the organizer to start writing your story. Don't use both organizers, just pick the one that you think is gonna work for you. And once your story is all planned out, it's actually finally time to start writing that story. But don't worry, because all this planning is gonna pay off and make writing the story such an easier process. You're gonna love it. The first few sentences of your story are extremely important to get right. And so we'll see you in the next video where you can learn some strategies to make that happen.
Sound right, boy.